All right. What you guys need to do is, if you look at your discussion board, you will see once you click discussion board, then you see counter argument and refutation. Let me know if everything is there or not. You go to your college, your Blackboard site. Yeah. And then you go to the last one, which is not the last one, but there'll be right below home assignment. There is a discussion board. See that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So once you go to discussion board, you click. You'll see counter argument and refutation. Click that. Once you click that, I have all the topics here. Okay. And what I want you to do is, once you hear, let's say, Bhakti goes as the first speaker, I would like all of you to enter your. So this is what you need to do. So I'm going to, if you one second, let me just. I think I can tell you this. Just write it down here one second. So just to explain this to you, you need to write, once you hear the speaker, you need to write your counter argument. So there are 3 steps for doing that. The first one is restate the counter argument in your own words. Now, restate the argument in your own words. Okay. Where do we write them? So if you go to discussion board, you click counter argument and counter argumentation and refutation, and then let's say you go to Bhakti. Bhakti is the first speaker. You click that link and then hit reply. Oh, okay. And when you hit reply, what you need to do is first one. I'm going to put I'm discussing it with you, and I'm going to put this on your right on Blackboard itself. So the first thing is that you need to restate the argument in your own words. Okay, as briefly as possible in your own words. In your own words. Then number 2 is, tell us how you agree with the argument or the position. Tell us how you agree. And then number 3, tell us how you disagree. Tell us how you disagree using any one of the 5 strategies that we talked about. A is direct denial. He says white, you say black. A is direct denial. Then B is challenge the warrant or challenge the reasoning. Challenge the warrant. Reasoning. C, challenge the evidence of proof. D, challenge the relevance of the claim. E, turn the claim or proof or evidence or warrant to your advantage. Okay, that's it. And then summarize your concept.
Do we
And-
mention the strategy?
I'm sorry.
Do we have to mention which strategy we are using?
I would, that's a great question. I would probably do that. I would probably do that, yes. Summarize your counter. This time there is no peer evaluation. This has 50 points. It's an in-class assignment. And all right, so
I'm not seeing my.
oh, because you were not there that day. All right, I'll just put that's a great thing. I'll put, what's your topic?
Long,
I'll put it right now.
yes,
Tell me.
the government foods with few
Yeah, Christian. The government should put increase the prices of tickets, right?
Yes.
Okay. The government should increase. Do you have any percentage or anything? No.
Oh.
Do you have any what percent of increase?
No.
Okay. Should increase the price of tickets. Okay, government. All right, so that's your topic and your topic is now. All right.
Thank you.
So Daniel is your topic. Yeah, you are there. Okay, so, John's topic is not there. Okay, John. Yeah, yes, that's right.
It's
Yeah,
there,
it's
but
there.
I think it's, I had not, like, I was against that.
Oh, we should not. What did I?
Yeah.
Why did we do that?
It just says we should.
Okay, I don't know why that happened. We should edit. So we should not. We should not send. Yeah, that's that. Any changes to the topics, class? If you could look at review your own topic. Everything okay? John, Christian, Bhakti, the social chat, okay, Daniel, well, Alex, Dan, Nick, Sonia, Valeria. Okay, I think it's all good. Valeria, you check your topics, okay? Scientists should invest in prevention of cancer than cure. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So let us get started. 10:17 already. All right. I will be here this time. You have 3 minutes, and I'll show you the same notepad. The only so you when there's 1 minute left, you split. And this is 20%. 1 minute left. We get to see this 1 minute, and then when I show you 30 seconds, that means you're done with 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Obviously, then that means when you see this, that means continue. And then 3 minutes is over, you stop. You still have about 30 seconds. Okay, so don't panic. I'll give you some time to wrap up. Okay. So here we go. These are only 2 things I need from. And let's close the door now. Value first. So okay. And if we are not using this, let me just turn it off because it's just distracting for the speaker to have this in the eye. Yeah, once counter argumentation starts, this is a place where you write your notes. Okay, you don't have to respond immediately. You have about 30 seconds to a minute to respond. Anybody using this? No one? Okay, let me turn it off then. Right. Good luck, all the best. Who's going to go first? Who's going first?
I can go.
Okay, all right.
Unless somebody is willing.
All right. Anybody wants to go ahead? Yeah.
Is it okay if I just write few numbers on the blackboard?
Yeah, sure.
I realize if I talk and write, it will take away too much of time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Huh? Yeah. I'm ready.
Ready, one second. Okay, go.
You have not started.
No,
right?
no, no, no.
Okay, yeah.
Whenever you tell me,
Okay,
whenever you are,
okay, I'm ready.
okay, all right.
Hello. Will you believe me if I say people consume an equivalent of credit card size of plastic every week? That's including you, me, everybody. And it is estimated that 100,000 marine animals die every year because of the plastic pollution. It is also estimated that 500 billion plastic has been used every year throughout the world. 500 billion followed by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 zeros. And among that 500 billion, 1 million is being used every minute by all of us. Not only that, US is the alone consumer of 100 billion plastic every year. Isn't this scary? What are we going to do with our environment if we keep using plastic like this? So plastic bags are very difficult and costly to recycle. Not only that, it lands up on the landfill where it sits and it takes around 300 years to photodegrade. So after it photodegrade, it releases toxic component which goes into the water and land, and indirectly it harms the animals because then it goes to their food chain. Now, microplastic is everywhere. We consume microplastic through air and through the food we eat there. And it is also estimated by 2050, there will be more plastics in the sea, in the ocean than the fishes what we can see today. What are we doing with this now? So a lot of states have been implementing a lot of effective recycling programs. Some states are also banning the use of plastic bags, or they charges money for the use of plastic bags. In USA, states like Seattle, Los Angeles, and Boston have used a ban on the plastic ban, and the other states like Maine, Washington D.C. have started using money for the plastic bags. So I recommend that the store should start charging us money for the plastic bag, so that once they start charging us the money, we will not start using that bag. We will be very mindful of using an extra plastic bag, so we won't carry those bags and throw it in the dustbins, and it will again go on the landfill. So charging money will also help the business to promote their own sustainability and their brand. So, for example, Target, they charge us money, they give us money if we use our own plastic bags. So unless and until we don't weed ourselves from the plastic bags, let's be cognizant of the fact, let's be nice to our environment of how we use that. By using the recyclable bag, the fewer animals will die, fewer bags will be produced, less petroleum will be used, and it can also relieve pressure from our landfill. So overall, the end of this small sacrifice from our side will lead a very big effect to our environment. Thank you so much. What a time just flies by.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just started and it's already 2 minutes.
I didn't know Target gives us money. We use our plastic bag.
No, they give us money.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they give us
yeah,
discount.
they give us really
Yeah,
discount.
so if you take our own bag.
Really?
Oh, I have to. Sorry.
All right. Please take your time and provide your counter argument. While I also make some notes. Yeah.
I added my comment to the wrong one.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, let me, and you said it's not letting you edit? It is not letting you edit, delete it?
No.
It's not letting you,
I
okay.
put on my
fine.
Christian by accident.
Okay, then you put
Sorry.
it. No, no, no.
Under Christian.
Oh, understand. Okay, okay, let me just check. Oh, yeah, okay. Let me take it from here, delete it, and you just do a control copy paste so that you don't have to,
It doesn't let me, oh, wait.
it will just do a copy so that you can put it in the right form, okay? Okay, even I do it for a safety thing and then I'm deleting it. Okay. See, and delete. Okay, it should go.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do I have to also use the same approach when somebody counter argumented me that I would have
Yeah,
to understand
exactly.
that?
Same, the same. You have to restate, understand, that's why you have a pen and thing.
Yeah.
To understand what the person's counter argument is, you have to restate, we can write it down because memory. And then once you're talking to the person, talking to your opponent, then you restate it in your own words to understand whether that person is saying the right, that you've understood it correctly. That's courtesy. So the person says yes, and then you do the same thing. You tell him or her how you agree first with what he's saying or she is saying, and then yeah, that's how you disagree using any of the five strategies. Okay, looking at the reasoning of the counter argument, looking at the claim of the challenging the claim of the counter argument, challenging the evidence of the counter argument. That person says white, you say again, you say black. Okay, any of the five strategies, and then summarize your review. Let me know when everyone is ready. That you've already seen John has already posted it.
But it seems like I can't see everybody's from here, right?
You can, if you want, you can. They all posted, right? So far, John has posted it. Okay, Daniel's posted as well. All right. All right. Well, let's start. And you guys can type and send it as soon as you're done. But we can start the process. Between John and Daniel, who wants to go? Daniel, okay, if you could. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, Daniel.
Sure.
So we just say submit once we.
Yeah, just say that.
So I said I agree that this will help with the plastic pollution problem, but I disagree that I think making them completely obsolete would be more. Plastic pollution.
Can I interject here a little bit? What Daniel did is, he is, I, using strategy number 5, okay? Which is, he's agreeing with your claim, but he's really saying that, yes, you're saying, I agree with you, but this is, you're thinking about increasing the price as a deterrent so that it doesn't increase it, and so that people, are more conscious about using plastic. He says that's not going to really solve it. What we need to do is completely ban it.
Completely get rid of them.
Completely get rid of it.
I see,
So
yeah.
you have time. You think about it, time to respond.
That 85 inches, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so whoever is submitting the deadline, do we have to answer them eventually later or 1 hour tonight, take an
That's fine. 1 hour. That's it.
I'm ready.
Okay, all right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so, yeah, uh, to agree with your sentence that you're saying that they should completely get rid of the plastic bags, my counter argument to that would be that it is absolutely not possible to completely ban those plastic bags because there are some advantages of it because it is the only source of material which is water resistant. And people would want to use it somewhere or the else, whether it comes to rain, when it comes to water, sealant, and stuff like that. But yes, minimizing the use of what we as the general public are doing to our environment, going to the grocery stores and getting up thousands of bags, and going back to biodegradable bags or getting our own bags will definitely have a huge impact on the environment overall, and which will help us less landfill being filled up and toxin from that. So I would say that. Thank you.
You're done.
Good luck to all of you.
Yeah. Who wants to go next? Whenever you're ready, let me know. You're ready?
Yes.
Okay, all right, go.
When I think of the Chicago Bears, I think of years of disappointment and frustration. The reason I think of years of disappointment and frustration is because almost every 4 years they hire a new general manager, head coach, or quarterback, and almost always they do a poor job at it. Fans start to question if these people are qualified to be in their position and think who in the right mind would hire these people. Bears have had 27 different starting quarterbacks in the last 25 years, which leads fans to act, which makes fans sick of asking the same questions every year. And all these questions trace back to the one thing that hasn't changed: the ownership. George Halas purchased the Bears for $100 in 1920, then passed it down to his daughter Virginia when he passed away, and the McCaskies have been in charge ever since. I have nothing personal against the McCaskey family, but I believe they have no idea how to run a professional football team. They may have been good at it in 1985 when they won their last Super Bowl, but it's been 37 years and fans are expecting more. In the last 37 years, they made the playoffs 12 times, and of those 12 times, they lost in the first round 7 times, which is another way of saying they shouldn't have been in the playoffs in the first place. Which makes me believe that this is a sign that the McCaskey family refuses to adapt to the modern day NFL and is still living in the 1900s when it comes to running an NFL team. Since 1985, the Chicago Bears have had 7 different head coaches and 4 different general managers, and still no Super Bowl. They got lucky in 2006 and made the Super Bowl, but they are missing the most important position on the team, the quarterback. So they were unable to win the Super Bowl that year, which brings fans back to asking the questions: how do you not have a reliable quarterback? He's the most important player on the team. Who built this team, and who hired the person to build this team? And once again, all these questions trace back to the one thing: the owners. There are teams with new owners in the past 10 to 15 years that have been Super Bowl contenders almost every year. The Los Angeles Rams went through an ownership change in 2010 and have been to the playoffs 4 times, the Super Bowl twice, and won the Super Bowl once. Another team that has recently went through ownership change is the Buffalo Bills in 2014. They now have a franchise quarterback and are on track of winning a Super Bowl in the next few years. However, not every team is successful. However, every team is not successful after new ownership. The Cleveland Browns and Jacksonville Jaguars have gone through ownership changes in the last 10 years. However, and the Jaguars are still one of the worst teams in the NFL, and the Browns have improved slightly, but have only made the playoffs once. But I believe if the McCaskies sell the team to the right person who actually cares about the success of the team, that the Bears will be much better off. Thank you.
Start writing your counter argument for them.
which are the last two teams you mentioned that the owner changed, but they didn't do well?
The Jaguars and the Browns.
Where those teams, ownership was changed, but they didn't do much better. Than the others. Right, that was.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. You're ready. Okay.
So, my argument is, like, I definitely agree that there should do better, like, I really appreciate the research you put into the speech. But my argument is like, as you only mentioned that Jaguar and Browns, how they, like, the ownerships changed, but they didn't do much better even after that. So, I just wonder how the Bears will be benefited by changing the ownership. So my suggestion is like instead of, because this is a teamwork, right? So winning and losing is entirely depending on the teamwork. So I think they should put more efforts in choosing their players and quarterbacks, and then probably like they should put more teamwork and practices and maybe there's more motivation.
So you're saying how will the Bears benefit and not be like the Browns and Jaguars?
Uh-huh. Like, I mean, the changing the ownership will not do much, maybe if they do not improve on others.
So I understand that you think the Bears might not improve if they get new ownership, like they'll be like the Browns. And I agree that there's still a good chance that that might happen, but the Bears' current owners have owned the team for the past 100 years, maybe a little more. And it's a different league now. It's more offensive based, and the Bears have been focused on defense their whole entire, like that's the Bears thing, is we focus on defense, but the league's now shifting towards offense. So you need a good offensive minded coach or someone with a good offensive mind in the organization. And then the Bears they bought the Bears for $100 back in 1920, and it's now worth over $1 billion. So I just do not believe they know what they're getting into, or like know how to like operate $1 billion company organization.
All right, who's going next? All right.
So,
One business, please. Go.
Okay, so should school give the Chromebooks to kids in the kindergarten? So kindergarten is like 5 years old. Now we all know like how the laptops and the Chromebooks are so essential part of today's educational system. But earlier, like 18 years ago, the all kids in the 5th grade used to get the Chromebooks. Then it turned to like a 3rd grade, which is like 8, 9 years old. And now it is going to the 5 years old in the kindergarten. So my as per the milestone development for the fine motor skills, they say that kids are still practicing holding the pen, pencil, and writing until the age of 8. So when these digital gadgets, they are actually replacing everything like playground, storybooks, TV, the family TV time, everything has been replaced. So now what happens is when the schools in such early age giving the Chromebooks, it is extra stimulation on the developing brain cells, and it's like a sugar rush. Like they get instant energy and then they feel so drained because of the so much of a stimulation to the brain. Now what happens is like kids also, because of the screen all the time, kids have a less focus. Actually writing practices and the coloring books, all these things can make kids extra focused, and it train the brain to focus more, while this is taken away from the kids. Now where like everything available on the fingertips, so kids actually visualize when they do not have a time to visualize, imagine or creative. So that is also lacking in their development now. We all know that muscle have one basic rule, that use it or lose it. So autocorrect feature of the spellings will actually remembering and learning spellings that gives the memory more function, where they lose that ability because of the autocorrect feature. Now sleep deprivation, eye straining, and because of the blue light, that is also not very good. So now what happens is lack of physical activity is more aggression, leads to aggression. You can see the tantrums the toddlers give. So we can see the using less paper will actually be good for environment. But if we see, if we are aware of the paper products we use, and if we eliminate that thing, then kids still can have a lot of notebooks and natural way of developing themselves. So my thing, I suggest that kids the Chromebook should be given at the later age and not so early. Thank you.
Right, you could write a counter argument for Vaishali. Vaishali, are you going to the makeup speech today or?
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, yeah. Are you ready?
No, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Let me know that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. Who would like to ask? Like, get a volunteer first? All right, we have Christian. All right, Christian, go.
All right, so I understand your concern that schools should not give Chromebooks to kindergarten schools. But the question is, since we're turning into a digital world and we believe that learning is actually at the early age, my question is, are they really learning something from using gadgets, those gadgets at a young age? And if yes, why would you take them away since they are learning something?
Do you want me to rephrase or interject?
No,
here, or
I
you
got
like-
the
All
question.
right.
Yeah, I totally,
Okay, all right, we take it.
I'm ready.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I totally agree with that, that because as even I mentioned that today it is a technological world, so kids definitely need to cope up and learn from the earlier stages. But my point is, they definitely can start using the gadget from say third grade, after having some fine motor skills developed by the age of 8. And then the question you asked, do the kids learn more on the computer because of this interactive gadget? Yes, I definitely agree to that point because there are researches going on that they do learn faster and a lot more than what we can teach them manually. But the question is, are we trying to create the geniuses and smart kids only, or we are trying to create the humans? So because in overall development of human, there has to be proper communication skills. There has to be the cope up strategies, which is like if something goes wrong and against your like will or something, and then you need to cope up. So these practices are not getting because of the extra stimulation to the brain at such an early age. So what I suggested here is they should actually let them develop naturally and normally till a certain age, and then they have a whole life to actually they actually learn the gadgets. If you see actually from the mom's womb, because if you see like a 6 months old also can swipe its fingers on the screens nowadays. So it's not that they are going to lag behind, but school is extra thing where kids actually go out of the house and learn more communication skills and like trusting people, trusting their adults, and all the focus if it is put into the gadgets, they are losing this chance. That's fine. Thank you. Good luck.
Oh, one more to go. One more to go.
Yeah, that is it. No, benefit. Exactly. Almost same question. They learn more. They learn the communication skills.
All right, very good. Okay. All right, Rabia. Start. No, yeah, take your time. Whenever you are ready, you can.
I'm a little, my energies are.
Yeah.
Around 50% of cancers could be prevented, according to the World Health Organization. An estimate number of 1.8 million new cases and 606,520 deaths caused by cancer. 70 to 90% of cancers have a life expectancy of 5 years, whereas first stage cancers don't require any rigorous treatments. But how better could life be if we don't have to get until third stage cancer? Around 5 to 10% of cancers are through genes, which leads us to 95 to 90% cancers being found due to our lifestyle. I think organizations, as we're all aware since we were young, make a good idea or are doing a good job teaching us that cancer could be treated. But what are they really doing to prevent it? In 2019, the American Cancer Society reached over $145.9 million in cancer research, where the report found in the US cancer patients in 2018 spent over 5.6 billion in out-of-pocket costs, which means organizations didn't have enough to pay for, let's say, not even treatment, but transportation or etc. Overall, the disease cost the country over 183 billion in cancer-related health spending in 2015, an amount projected to increase within the years around 246 billion in 2023. I understand that scientists are doing their part. They've been I'm sorry. Big organizations should promote prevention and not just the answer to the bigger problem. Many may say that scientists are doing their part hand with these organizations since the past century to promote and find a cure for cancer, but are they really? We know that everything moves with money in this world. Like as shown in the documentary that we saw in this class with the health, many big companies recommend cancer-producing items in our daily lives. Let's take, for example, a pack of cigarettes have, let's say, 200 cigs. And many manufacturers add coupons to the customer to obtain more cigarettes, hence damaging their lungs. According to the FDA and the law, it does not restrict discounting products with via coupons, rebates, or other similar methods. When have you heard that vegetables, healthy foods, or medications go on sales or have coupons? On the contrary, when summer comes around, all the produce stores promote, what meat is going on sale. Therefore, I suggest that scientists should invest more in preventing and research rather than expensive, rigorous treatments. Thank you. We talked about
Yeah.
I also know this, I think I mentioned how the definition should be, so what definition should be, and how it represents the culture, so the prevention.
Okay.
So, which point are they, like, the attacking
Oh,
the reasoning
okay.
or the
How, so the basically, how is this going to work out?
Right, because there is nothing mentioned in that, like,
Okay.
what should be done for the prevention.
Okay, so that is more of a follow-up question. But let me say, what should be done about the prevention, what are the things? Which is, that's more follow-up question. I won't really say that's a,
But we have
this
to-
thing, yeah, that's the thing, that they can't do.
what are the names of those
She has
organizations
not,
you use?
she has not been given the book to explain that in.
I use
So that's not going to be a position, this is what she proposes.
World Health
That's not
Organization,
counter-argument,
American
it's not-
Cancer
that is the
Society,
one follow-up question.
um,
How is it going to work out?
Division of Cancer
But if you
Prevention.
argue with her,
American
you have to
Cancer,
tell her this is the law,
WHO, and who else?
We don't need
Wait,
to,
which one's the
or there's.
Yeah, American
this is
Cancer
not-
Society.
Yes,
you know,
World Health
World Health
Organization
And
Division of
that
Cancer
has to be-
Prevention.
that
Division
has to
of
be a
Cancer Prevention.
approach. Now, if you're thinking that we want to know more about how this is going to work out, that's going to be more of a follow-up question. Okay, which she doesn't have the opportunity to do that in the present. So if given the time, she would have probably been able to explain. But right now, on the basis of what she has said, how would you,
Then I just have this one where I
Turn
can
into-
have the solution.
what is
So,
your, what,
like, I can say that, that this money should go to the more organic values.
yeah, that's,
So this is,
yes, this is such an question. She might agree with you with that one, let's see. If everybody's ready, can we have a counter argument? Okay, who's going to go? Okay, all right. This is not the
This will be such a lame argument.
It's okay.
I have to, right?
Okay, so true. I agree. Scientists should invest in the prevention rather than the cure of cancer. Billions of dollars are already been involved in the cure towards the cancer, which I feel is also very much necessary because if that money is not being utilized in that prevention of cancer, the chances of surviving for a person who is suffering from cancer would reduce drastically. So life change is a very much of a personal choice which has been given to us from the very beginning of our life, knowing all the history. But preventing cancer is not under the hands of WHO or American Cancer Society and the Division of the Cancer Prevention. Because they are already associated with the cure of the cancer, so they themselves are not solely responsible that they have to invest their money towards the prevention. So they have to have that money towards the cure, which is also equally necessary.
Thank you.
Does it make sense?
In other words, Happy is saying that that's their first priority to cure cancer.
Because those organizations have been raised to cure for a
Cure.
person. If they don't spend that money, the person will die, right?
Okay, so
They don't
that,
want to not do that and then start that money towards the prevention.
prevention, okay.
That is not under their hand to do.
Okay, we hear from Valeria as to how, what the board thinks and what is their objective. Cancer Association and all these associations, what's their objective? Yeah, yeah, okay, he wants to have another
No,
follow-up.
no, I was just saying, kind of like something.
Yes, yes.
Because
Okay.
mine is kind of related to that.
Oh, yes, yes, I was actually thinking of the same thing.
All right.
Perhaps Christian needs to go after that. What is the focus of these organizations right now?
I could kind of answer the question.
Okay.
I know they're not responsible obviously for our health because I mean, everyone's its own person. But I mean, let's say in other countries where they have lower they have better, let's say, healthcare and better lifestyles. I guess since an early age, we can switch our mentality of how to have a better lifestyle, how some countries do have a better lifestyle, hence they have less numbers of cancer cases. I don't know if that answers.
So did you find out that which are the countries who have low levels of these chronic?
Nepal has.
Really? Okay. I was thinking about what about these countries like, there is very good healthcare systems like Sweden and all. And they have this, very relaxed system. They work in terms of like work-life balance is a lot better than.
Germany, Japan.
Yeah.
Japan not the
Japan is
work-life
like
there,
that.
but because of the just walking and cycling and
Cycling and walking. Yeah.
so that is the most like good lifespan that we
Yeah.
have. Then Germany is also one of the best as well.
Really?
Because
Okay.
they really give the work and family balance.
Okay.
Like they make it mandatory for people to take a vacation on the cost of company. So, all right. Yeah, it should move to Germany.
Okay, we have question now.
You guys shouldn't be scared about this. This is all about what I'm gonna talk about.
Okay.
All right, so.
Yes.
All right, so today I'm gonna talk about lung cancer and the risk factors. So lung cancer is the world's deadliest cancer. And in 2020 alone, 1.8 million people died around the world because of lung cancer. And in those, 136,084 were just from America. So according to the CDC, which is the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, cancer is caused by different things. It could be smoking, it could be radon, which is a radioactive gas that we found in the soil. It could be genetics, it could be pollution. But as she said, 90% of all these cases that I just mentioned are from just smoking. So smoking is a biggest part, makes the biggest part in causing lung cancer. So, and we can go deep into how smoking can cause cancer, but let's just take a look on what causes cancer in cigarettes. It's the mixture of different chemicals. There is over 7,000 chemicals in one cigarette, and this is what causes cancer. And in addition, secondhand smokers are also at the same risk to develop lung cancer and other diseases. So there is one thing to mention: why people are so hooked on cigarettes. So tobacco companies chemically engineer cigarettes to contain more nicotine to make people get more addicted. So, and the more they get addicted, the more people die. And that's how the 1.8 million people that I mentioned came to die. So definitely, this is not the life we want to live in, where people die because of somebody wants to make money out of that. So as I'm as I'm suggesting, I want everybody to make a choice and uh, help somebody by referring them to this number so that they can quit. I'm pretty sure everybody knows somebody who smokes cigarettes. Secondly, I urge the government to put a sanction on those $1 billion companies that make money out of killing people indirectly and add a significant fee on each product containing tobacco. This will make it hard. This will make it hard for the producer and the consumers, and but will save life. At the end of the day, I believe that choice is personal, but with the help of me, you, and the government, we can save the humanity. Thank you.
Christian News, and those motivate people, right?
Right.
everyone has finished, if you need some time, that's fine. If they're done, if somebody could volunteer, provide your counter argument. All right, very good.
Well, if we know like the numbers of people dying of lung cancer are so high, why can't we just ban it or maybe a recall since a lot of other things are getting recalled? And I mean, we used to do like, I guess, opioids long time ago and that got banned. Why can't the government just ban it?
You can make it back.
All right,
You ready?
yep. All right, so I just want to make sure if I got the question right. You say we should instead ban cigarettes instead of just like putting a fee on it. Yep, I actually think this could be a really good step toward like preventing lung cancer and everything. But if you think about it, you know, this is for generations and years, and cigarettes are not just like something that can impair your mind, but it's a matter of just choice and you smoke it. So buying it will take a really, really long time to achieve. But the first step will be first for somebody who wants to quit, to refer him to this number. Secondly, for the government to put a sanction to the companies to make it hard for both the producers and the consumers, to achieve their goals. Thank you.
The first one, I forgot to add on the point. So
Okay.
for me, showing me to reply, that should be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
The first one is wrong, and
You can reply to yourself.
I will.
Yeah. Okay, all right, Jan is the last speaker.
Somebody's notepad is up here, unless this is just everyone's.
Yeah, everyone's.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so as most of everyone pretty much already knows, planet Earth is kind of going through a really bad global emissions thing where the temperature of the planet is rising significantly upwards to where they're projecting a 4 degrees Celsius increase in the next 50 years, which would be detrimental to the planet to the point where we would have to find a large solution immediately or just leave the planet altogether. So NASA and Elon Musk have decided that the place to go or the place to start even, because we're so unbelievably far from actually leaving the planet and starting a civilization on another planet, is Mars. And I'm gonna say why that is a really terrible idea and why Mars kind of just sucks in general. Mars is a little bit smaller than Earth, which doesn't sound like a bad thing. But it would have really bad long-term effects on human beings who have already lived on Earth and experienced this gravity to go and live somewhere else, where you would be able to lift a car like off the ground. And the dust on Mars is so finite that just by getting a little bit of it on your hands, it would spread to you, and it would stick to you because it's so small. And you would rub it all over, and it would get in your lungs, and it would eventually cause like serious damage. So anybody that gets sent to Mars would need to be completely in like a suit or something to be completely away from the planet. And on top of that, the radiation that the planet has is immense since there's almost no atmosphere whatsoever. The rays from the sun go directly onto the surface of Mars, and it is it's like 5 times the amount of radiation that you would receive on Earth. You'd get cancer within years. And I haven't even talked about how hard it is to even get to Mars in the first place. Earth orbits around the sun, and Mars orbits around the sun behind Earth. So larger orbit, and we have about a year, and they orbit in about 3 years. So in order to send somebody to Mars in the first place, there's a really, really small gap where Mars and Earth rotate around each other, and that's when we would send somebody to Mars. But there's a very large amount of time in between that. So we would have to send somebody there, and within 3 months, they would have to be able to come back to Earth. This isn't really something that we have thought of yet. So it really isn't possible to send someone to Mars yet. They project that it's going to be sometime within the next 20 years, but statistically, our rate of innovation would have to go up tremendously to be able to send anyone to Mars within our lifetime. So I would say that it's time to focus on cleaning up our planet instead of trying to send someone to Mars. It just doesn't seem possible. They could die. It's really, really dangerous.
You found the argument or?
That's why.
To go to Mars.
Well, there's like, since they take 3 years, it takes 3 years for Mars to rotate around the sun, and it takes us about a year to rotate around the sun. There's about like a 3-month time frame where we'd be able to send someone there and then hopefully get them back. Otherwise, they would be on Mars for 2 years,
Oh, right.
and
Oh.
they would definitely
Oh,
die.
One thing would be good that like year would just pass by year so quick. At
Mhm.
least we will have a long year,
Yeah.
which will be like a 3 years year.
Mhm.
Like, year will not just go by so quick. have to write a counter argument
Yeah.
And especially when you mentioned the dust and the radiation part, like it's so scary, right? You can live there with
Oh,
die
yeah.
anyway, why you want to go? So.
Anybody ready? Okay, let's see. Let's hear from us. Okay.
I can try. It should be valid, right? Okay, I agree that the human shouldn't be sent to Mars, but what if going to Mars, we land up to discover something new which might help us to deal with our major problems in the earth, like pollution or cancer or some things like that? You know, what if we discover something which will help us civilize us in a much more, you know, make it some material which will make it a cancer-free entire world operation. So I feel that humans should not stop discovering new things outside the earth. It is certainly positive that they might discover something which will drastically help the earth someday. So I would say go Mars.
Yeah, you also have?
Yes, I actually have something. So I said, I understand that the option of sending people to Mars sounds crazy, but this is the last option in case that life is not supported anymore on Earth. So what would be another option if life is not supported on Earth anymore?
Can I answer Christians first? Because I actually have a counter argument for this.
Yes.
So I wrote about this in my initial script, but I didn't have time to speak about it. In like last resort cases, I mentioned the moon was a excellent place to start instead of going straight to Mars, because if we were to start on going to the moon, first of all, we've already been to the moon, but it would be a much easier thing to do, and we could do this like today. Like we could start working and send somebody again to the moon, and we would be able to. Let's say we wanted to launch our rocket ship from the moon instead of the Earth. Like launching a rocket ship from the Earth is incredibly hard, takes a lot of fuel. We have these giant rockets and only the tip of them is actually useful because the rest of it's for fuel. If we could send a ship from the moon, we could easily get to Mars whenever we want. So it would be a better place to start there, or we could even go to different solar systems in general. I just think that Mars is just a really cruddy planet, and I think that there was really a reason for us to settle for Mars, and we should try to go somewhere where we can last a really long time, or until we can. I was going to say terraform Venus, but that would be like 100 million years from now. And then to respond to your argument, I did think about this because there was the scientific innovation. Like most of the reason we're sending somebody to Mars is just to see if we can do it. And there is a possibility that we could find something on this on Mars, but it would be within the core. But also I would say that if we really wanted to find something that would better the lives of people on Earth, something that we can bring back and be useful to us as society, there's a giant asteroid belt filled with asteroids that have collided with each other. They're full of natural resources that we find in our universe. And Mars would just have more stuff like natural resources that we would find in our universe, just a more abundance of certain elements. Like Mars definitely has more uranium since it gets hit with asteroids quite often. Whereas Earth has a very protective atmosphere, which is why we don't have as much uranium, since most of it's from when the Earth first formed and it didn't have an atmosphere. So you would find very similar materials on the moon and asteroids that you would find on Mars. I'm sure if that you dug up like way into the core, you would find different things, but it would be for the most part stuff that we find on the periodic table already.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed your session. All right, so I actually wanted to talk to all of you today too, as I always do, but today, as you can see, it's already 11:48. So I will, all of you please do, as you know that this is a 50 points for, so please do come back on our last day, that day of our class, which is Wednesday. And yeah, so, and then I'll give you your, like a verbally, I'll be able to give you a feedback. But the grades have already been turned in, so we can. And the only thing now that is left is your counter argument, obviously, for our next class, which is 50 points, you'll hear the last few speeches. And another one, that only thing that is left is the final course analysis, which I will be talking to you about. Other than that, you're actually all done. So I will see all of you on Wednesday. Bye.
Have a good day.
Oh, we can see everybody's. Everybody, visualize. I was trying to find that. I was not there on April 25th.
Okay.
You marked me present.
Oh, I did? Okay, okay. Okay.
And the assignments I had finished, so
Ah.
it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Then by tomorrow or by Wednesday, and
You can take some more time if you want. Okay. But I think what special is done by.
oh, okay.
And they're done. Okay.
All
right.
right, thank you.
Bye.
And Wednesday I will go with my information.
Yes.
So I do
yes.
it during the class, or you want me to stay?
You can, you finally do it good, because we won't have too many. We'll have the make, Sunshine, Cave, Rafael, and Nick, I mentioned him, and you. So we'll see. So that's it.
Okay.
Okay, all right. And both of you, it was such a beautiful gift. Oh my God. It actually, I actually thought I took a picture, but maybe I didn't. I'll take a picture and I'll show it to you. It's right on my daughter was so, you guys are teacher appreciation. I have that little note that you have right there. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Somebody's choice.
How are your other courses going? All right?
I'm not doing any other.
Oh, you're just doing this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's not that bad.
Yeah.
You are, right? Okay.
I have one in the evening today, so that's also my final assignment. I have to finish servicing for that today.
Okay.
And hopefully, I don't know if I have to do anything else. Again, it's actually online class. It is submit, and there are so many students, there are like 22 students. So then,
Oh, it's fully online or hybrid? Is it fully online?
Fully online.
Oh, fully online, okay. You like that? You like it? Okay, it's working.
this one is working well because it's a website designing, it's not coding and all those things.
Oh, okay.
So then you don't have to be physically present to do it.
Right.
So you kind of commute by take so much time, right? Otherwise, going to blend it in, it would be like
Yeah.
45 to 15 minutes. For you,
Especially the traffic.
yeah, for you, it will be much better. But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
But I have to go fall, there is no online, so I have to go.
Oh, okay. So no, you're not taking any courses in summer? No.
No, I'll be in India.
Oh, you're in India.
I'm in June.
Oh, nice.
I'll be back 11th August.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Whole
Okay.
summer.
Ah. You going to Calcutta?
I will not be able to because too much of a commute. My in-laws are in Ahmedabad.
Oh,
So I'm going flying back and forth from Ahmedabad and then
Okay.
locally I will go to my mom's place, Odisha.
Orissa, right?
Yeah.
Where in Orissa?
So Balangir. It is
Okay.
on the western side of Odisha, very close to Hirakud Dam.
Okay.
Sambalpur.
Oh, Sambalpur, of course. Yeah.
It's like an hour from Sambalpur.
Oh, okay. Nice. What are your plans? You just, how's everything?
Everything good.
Okay.
We are actually going the whole family on 8th June and coming on 28th June.
Oh, to India?
Yeah, 28.
Oh, okay.
So
So where
20
you-
days.
20
I go, my native place is Nashik, which is near
Oh,
Mumbai.
Pune,
But
Nashik, right?
yeah, but this time we're taking trips to like see Delhi, maybe Kashmir, or we're
Oh.
waiting in Nepal or Kashmir. and
Oh,
all
nice.
that. So-
Agra and Taj Mahal.
Yeah, Agra. Kids are like, now, they never saw, but like so many times we've been, but
Yeah.
you know, always the season is like,
Right.
rainy season,
Right.
so we hardly, because they were so young, or
Yeah.
they're falling sick or something, we hardly took them anywhere.
Oh. So this is
And this year, because my daughter will be going college, so this is
Oh.
the year we all can be together, otherwise her schedule will change.
Right. Does she know where she's going?
Yeah, she's going to Boulder.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Colorado.
Colorado.
Colorado. Oh, no. And you have younger kids as well, right?
Yeah, he is freshman this year, so
Oh,
he will be
okay.
sophomore.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'll see you on Wednesday.
Yeah, see you well.
Yeah, like we're getting sad, the class is ending.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah, this was, I actually experimented a little bit because this time I wanted to give you all that, I used to have 5 speeches in this class.
Oh.
And then I would really make the students, like, I got some feedback with, like, a lot of people enjoyed 5 speeches, but it was too much. And then I thought that even the kind of courses that I enjoyed, I did my honors in English. And we, like, here it's very different here because I went through my master's program. It's a lot of things, lot of things that you have to know. So they don't really want a very in-depth knowledge in anything, but a lot of comprehensive knowledge, which I like, but then I thought that let me just focus on 3 speeches here and let the students do it 3 speeches very good. So I think that worked out in this lesson. 3 very different, like one will be storytelling, the other will be like a teacher and then another will person. Yeah.
It's like really, we developed the thinking eventually, this is like really good, I really
Yeah.
like that part, like, because initially we talked about ourselves and then
Right.
widened the research and then we went like opinionated, so
Yeah.
it's like really good.
Yeah, then we into the third one because they like to argue. See the kids also, right?
Oh, yeah.
They are always like thinking at how do you counter argue, which strategy do you use? That is something which this is actually taken from law books. That's exactly what goes on. I don't know how many of you are following the Johnny Depp trial right now that's going on. There's a trial right now. But it's a lot about questioning, understanding. You can't really ask any question. You figure out how to attack that person. And then what you guys have experienced, it is just like maybe 30% of a debate. 70% is like going after
Right,
that, back and forth. So,
Try with Alex, we did that a little bit
And then
more,
we-
that going back and forth.
yeah.
It's nice, we really enjoy it.
Yeah. See you on Friday,
Yeah,
on
all right.
Wednesday.
See you Wednesday. Bye.
No, that's okay.